Me and my brother came up with this project. I am impressed with what it looks like so far. I did not do the video of putting it together. One, because I'm going to make this a surprise. There's something on the inside of this. Yes, this looks excellent. Love it. Black and red. Got this bunch of dust. And with the black, we mixed just a little bit of gold in to get some nice little sparkly gold coloring. I got my centers already marked. I have an idea of what to do. This was just a block of wood that we used to set down because I put some, like I said, put a surprise down in here that you can't see. It's wood. It's a really pretty wood. And instead of burning it, I decided to use it because otherwise it would have just been trash. So for the sake of time in doing this video, I cut out a big portion here because what I had done is take and put this thing on in between centers in order to cut a tenon to be able to use my chuck jaws to hook this thing up, because what I've experienced in the past, it's easier with resin just for me to put it between centers, put a tenon on it, than it is for me to try to mess with a woodworm screw and resin, because I always have issues. And same with just regular screws. So it was easier for me to just put it on in between centers, put a tenon on it, mount it in my jaws, and turn it like this. You'll see what I'm talking about when I get this thing flipped around. Alright, I think I'm going to sand this up. Probably 240 through 3000 or so. Alright, we got it flipped around. What do you think of that surprise? That's some pretty colored wood in there. I didn't get as much of it uncovered on the outside as I figured. But I think we're going to get quite a bit on the inside, because there's a lot of scraps in there that I put in there from that wood. I have an idea. Hope it doesn't put too much stress on it, but I'm going to try to drill this out. some reason, this cuts really, really hard. The wood that I used did not seem to cut that hard, but the combination of the wood and the resin could be to blame for that. I'm not sure. But one thing I noticed is I'm not seeing a whole lot of red on the inside here. I wonder if it got all pushed out to the outside. That's fine. Still got some good color. I am seeing some cracks right in here that didn't come together perfectly. Right in here, got another one. Sad thing is, I was hoping this piece, I remember this piece, would show up on the bottom. Hopefully, we don't lose all of it. Alright, so I had to pour a little bit of more CA down in there. The cracks are just continuing to go further down, and I'm starting to see bubbles where my weight block that I used and ended up using for the base here was touching the resin. I don't like that. So I'm going to have to try to scrape this as best as I can to get it to look nice and smooth without looking awful. And try to scrape more on this part right here because it's pretty thick. This is where I'm having the most problems. I'm not used to doing resin, and it cuts completely different. I'm having a hard time. So we're gonna get it done though. I think, I hope, I pray to God. You know, I just discovered something. I went further down a little bit there. And those cracks that I'm seeing are the same cracks that were in my weight block here. I wonder if that has anything to do with it. I wonder if it kind of sucked up some resin and left some voids in the resin itself. So maybe I do have to go further down there. We'll keep trying. Alright, I'm going to sand this up. It's going to take a while. It's a little rough on the inside. I will bring you guys back when we go to put a finish on this. And like I said, I'm going to put some polyacrylic on it, and then I'm probably going to buff it with my paste, and we'll go from there. I'll be right back. Alright, I got my lathe sort of covered up, got my chuck all taped up, because we will be spraying, but for now I'm going to be putting a little bit of shellac in here. While that kind of settles, I'm going to spray the outside, maybe buff it, I'm not sure, after it's dry. These colors are just almost worth the pain. This thing was a headache. My God, was it a headache. Alright, got a coat of shellac on there. Gonna let that dry a bit, then we're gonna spray the outside here. Alright, so full disclosure here. I had already put a coat on this. and I had forgot to record it, so I said, you know what, I'll just finish it and I'll do it. I'll finish the video. But then I usually heat it up a little bit with a light, but then I decided to use my heat gun, and I heated it up too much where it bubbled a little bit, so I had to wipe it off with denatured alcohol and redo. So I guess you guys get to see me put a coat on here. Give it a second try, I guess. It looks a little milky now, but once it dries, it clears up. I'm gonna keep turning this until this thing is dry. My hands might not work afterwards, but we're gonna do that. And you guys will see the inside when I'm completely done. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it's been about a week and a half for me, because I had all kinds of issues with this thing. I took it in the house to sort of get it dried out, and then I had to take the finish back off, put it back on. It's still not the way I like it, which means it's not perfect. But I wanted to see what it's going to look like if I use some of my abrasive paste that I made myself on this polyacrylic before we flip it around and take the bottom off. Alright, here we have our partially disappointing bowl. I'm going to point out the faults first so you guys can enjoy the rest of it. Down in there, if you look and if you feel, my finish had bubbled. Part of that was because I used the heat gun a little bit because it was a little chilly out here, and just to warm it up to get it to stick, but I did too much. So as I said before, I had to get the finish off with denatured alcohol, and I couldn't quite get all of that off. For one, it's probably because it's end grain. Other thing is, you can see where the bubbles were, where this one connected. Actually, you can see it dotted all the ways in there, all the ways up in this, where the wood meets the resin. And I can feel several little bumps, like really small bumps. Some of that's from the finish, because like I said, I don't use this finish, so it took me a while to get used to. I used to do cabinets, so I used something similar to that, but it was all spray on, proper environment, you know, perfect environment. So, you know, but now let's look at the good parts. Just look at that. Just look at that. That looks like something right there with two eyes, maybe a chicken. My wife said it looks like an angry chicken right there. I'm not right there. I'm not sure how, but just say it looks like an angry chicken. Let's see where else, right? I mean, pretty much everywhere. It's pretty much just everywhere. It's not just one spot. It's everywhere. Down in the middle there, or in the inside, you got some in there too. Just look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. That's why you don't waste anything. One thing that I was disappointed about was you had this piece of wood up here that came all the ways down here, and I was hoping to have that for the bottom, but you know, we don't always, you know, it doesn't always come out the way you want. The rim isn't quite perfect, but you know what? I'm gonna quit complaining about it, and I'm gonna enjoy it. Look at that right there. It's just absolutely phenomenal, isn't it? I mean, I think it is. You can literally see the reflection of my lights behind me. Look at that. That right there does kind of look like a chicken. Got the eyeball here, eyeball there, and a beak right there. Maybe the little gobble down here. What do we call that, under their neck? Yeah, there you go. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for sticking around. Turned out a little bit longer. I did cut out quite a bit of places because it was just longer. I have to order me some new carbide tips because he just wasn't cutting right, and it turns out it's really hard on your traditional tools. So yeah, it's what I've learned so far. So there we go. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and I will see you guys on the next video. And as always, don't burn it, turn it, and have fun doing it.